Hey guys, today we have a mini tea of things happening on the internet on all sorts of different social media platforms, but before we get into that, social media will be in the description along with my beauty channel, anything else you might need to find. So today's video is very kindly sponsored by Casetify, who've been amazing to work with over the last few months and you guys seem to be enjoying them too. So I have a bunch of cases to show you guys that I've been loving. Am I obsessed? Yes. So if you go on casetify.com/Angelika Oles, you'll get 15% off your new favourite phone cases. So let's just get into it. So you can keep your phone safe from drops as well as germs with your new favourite phone cases. We have the Impact and the Ultra Impact, just depending on what you need. They've also expanded their line of matte, sheer and clear phone cases. And you can add unique touches with some monograms. Casetify is known for amazing designs. For example, they're never bulky, even the Ultra Impact. They're super slim phone cases. They never make your phone feel thick and bulky and heavy. They're actually antimicrobial, which means they eliminate 99.9% of bacteria, and they've been drop tested. And all Impact and Ultra Impact cases are 50% recycled materials, so that's incredible. So the Impact cases have been up to 6.6 feet and they'll be fine, and then the Ultra Impact cases have been up to 9.6 feet, so you can really go wild and still have a safe phone case. I also love this line of phone cases, which is made from bamboo based materials and it's completely biodegradable and compostable. So this one is one of my favorites I've been using. It's super slim as well and it's just really cute. I've got the cow print, I've got the space, I've got the cheetah print. So of course, other than the pre-designed cases, you can also get custom ones. So if you want 15% off your new favorite phone cases, like I said, go on casetify.com/Angelika Oles and let's get into it. Recently, the Hype House, which does not have hype anymore, there's a handful of people that I could name. I think Vinny and Chase are in the Hype House, Alex Warren and Kova, and then Lorray, maybe. The rest I could not name to save my life. So there's the Hype House. Oh, Nikita Dragon is kind of in the Hype House, but not really. She hangs out with them, but would I say she's necessarily part of the Hype House? Not to me personally. I just count her as her own person. But recently they were offered a Netflix show. So I don't know if you guys remember when Nikita and Trish were arguing on Twitter, and Trisha basically said your show's irrelevant, the one on Snapchat with MTV. And Nikita had responded that she was actually working on a Netflix show. So we were all like, oh, is she confused? Is she ditching MTV? No, she's doing the Hype House reality show. So people are wondering oh, so she was defending all of these people and hanging out with them, going to parties and doing all of that so she could snake her way into the Hype House because she knew they were getting a Netflix reality show. Anyways, they're getting their Netflix reality thing. So they're all filming TikToks about how they're getting this Hype House reality show and people are clowning on them. People are angry, people are off because a lot of really good shows get cancelled on Netflix after one season. I've fallen victim to this before where you get really into a show and they're like, lol, it's cancelled. And people said a lot of really diverse shows were cancelled as well. A lot of really good, hard-hitting TV shows were cancelled. And they're going to give us the Hype House reality show. As if their social media is not a reality show in itself. Do we need more? Do we need to find out more? I don't know. Anyway, people said that the share price for Netflix dropped after they announced the show. And a few people responded. So I think it was Sienna that duetted that video and said that their share price was already dropping because of their quarterly finance checks. And then Vinny also filmed a TikTok about this. He's got a majority female audience and they really creep me out because anytime he speaks to a female, they send her death threats. And it's concerning to say the least because he is a grown man and he's going to end up probably finding himself a girlfriend at some point. And I feel sorry for the girl because she's going to get sent death threats by 12-year-olds who think they have a chance with him. Even though they don't. It's not going to happen. I know we all thought it was going to happen. I had my boy band things where I went to a concert and I thought, oh my god, he's going to fall in love with me. He's going to see me in the audience and fall in love with me. Even though I was 14 and these were grown men. It's not going to happen. He's not going to fall in love with you because you watch his TikToks. It's not going to happen. He films a TikTok where he's everyone's being mean to us. And then he tweets out some really concerning stuff. So this is all, by the way, over jokes. People are making jokes about the fact, yes, some people are actually voicing valid criticism, hey, these things have been cancelled and they definitely deserve to stay around more than the Hype House reality show. But most people are just mocking them, which just happens on TikTok naturally. It's something you should really be used to. And Vinny then decides to come out with these bangers. One of these days, someone will let the comments get to them, and to be blunt, they will kill themselves. Okay, Vinny, way to ruin the mood. All of this because people voiced actual criticisms regarding the fact that Netflix is giving TikTokers a reality show rather than actually contributing something artistic and creative to the world of movies and TV. I don't know. And some people are just making jokes. Some people are like, who is watching this? Like, it was jokes. It was all jokes. Anyway, that hole's not too far from being dug from what I'm seeing. Like, why are we sending threats to teenagers on this app? Like, whenever this grinds my gears, it's when people are receiving valid criticism and then it's like, well, what if they kill themselves? It's like, so what, we're just not allowed to criticize anyone ever because anyone could then kill themselves and that would be on us for criticizing them even though they did something worthy of criticism. Like, yes, of course we don't want someone to kill themselves. It's like so dumb to even say. Because of course we don't. But that also shouldn't be some kind of a get out of jail free card. It's also such a toxic thing to do to people. It's kind of like, you know, in relationships when someone wants to break up with someone and they're like, I'll kill myself if you do it. Like, it's a toxic relationship for a reason. It's an abusive relationship. This is giving me those same vibes. Like, people validly criticize Netflix and you guys, and suddenly it's, oh well, if someone kills themselves, it's your fault. Don't put that pressure on teenagers on the internet. Like, it's not fair. Someone could be on their last straw and you wouldn't even know. Be careful what you stir on the internet. One wrong decision and life could be on your hands. That is too much for what this situation is. Like, that is too far for what the situation is. There are so many times where I, as a drama channel, want to talk about something, but I don't because of someone's mental health. And that shouldn't really be the case, because if someone is doing something worth of criticism, I should just be able to criticize them. But I do understand that people go through mental health issues and it's not fair to do that to them. But this, it's like, so we're just not allowed to talk about anyone ever. It also stigmatizes mental health even further. It makes people with mental health issues look bad, because not all people use their mental health struggles as some kind of a don't criticize me thing. And it makes people with mental health issues look just bad, like just bad people that use their mental health issues to get out of things that they just did that are worthy of criticism. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but it's just a bad look for people with mental health struggles to use that as a way to get away with doing things without criticism. I'm not saying this to imply anything. I'm saying this to scare you, to warn you what you might be involved in. But then he comes back and says, hey guys, I got really emotional last night. I'm super sorry. I was having some bad thoughts and that's because I created that mentality myself. I'm so confused. I'm just beyond confused, because it's like, people are allowed to criticize you getting a Netflix show if that's what they choose to do, and they shouldn't have to be threatened with death. That's just my humble opinion on the matter. Like, I just think putting that on people, on strangers on the internet, is just a really toxic thing to do. Of course, let's talk about mental health issues. Let's talk about stress, anxiety, and depression to do with being on social media. But let's not threaten teenagers with having a death on their hands, because that is traumatizing. As long as you're not being malicious or super hateful or, you know, anything like that, that's just not fair to put on teenagers for making jokes on the internet. Of course, let's stay respectful on the internet. If someone's clearly going through a mental health struggle, ease up on them maybe. It's the reason why I don't do some videos, like I mentioned. But like, if this was the mentality for everyone, I would literally not have a channel, because anyone could just say, well, they're going to kill themselves, so don't film the video because you could be the last straw, and then I'd literally not have a channel. Philip DeFranco would not talk about criminals, or like he wouldn't talk about scandals or drama, because what if it's their last straw? Like, literally news outlets, documentaries, funny reaction videos, funny commentary videos wouldn't exist because of that mentality. I don't know. Then we have Tana Mojo, who's making a management. You can sign up mainly when you're either doing like YouTube or OnlyFans, and she'll help you monetize your videos, monetize yourself, make money. So that's just kind of the vibe that she's going for. I don't trust it. She tried to put on a convention, it failed. She tried to do many things and they failed. She sells failed merch. She sells failed stuff, perfume that was like weird. You could get it for cheaper somewhere else. Lingerie that you can get for cheaper somewhere else. Just a bunch of things that she has done that just screams scam, and this screams scam to me, so I just don't want any part of it. She's arguing with Def Noodles on the internet. So Def Noodles reported on an alleged story of Tana being kicked out of a restaurant because her card got declined, and then she was throwing a fuss or something like that. So Def Noodles said, daily dose of stupid, Tana Mojo and friends getting kicked out of the Abbey in West Hollywood for allegedly filming a person getting medical help due to alcohol poisoning. And then there were further tweets about how apparently her card got declined, and just a few theories about what happened. So there are a few clips of her like talking to the people working there, so on and so forth, and she responds, this is not at all what happened. We left because everyone had to due to an emergency inside. You can't just slander people based on assumptions. Def Noodles, LMAO. So there's that. Then we have Jaclyn Hill tweeting out, sometimes I just want to know who's actually my friend and who's only around for their personal gain. I wonder who that's around, because it just seems like Jacqueline doesn't have many close friends in the industry. She mainly has acquaintances in the industry and then a lot of friends from outside of YouTube, and I just wonder what's happening behind the scenes. Who's trying to use you, Jacqueline? Shane Dawson, recently a clip of a podcast he used to have a podcast called Shane and Friends, and he had Blair White on to talk about just life and stuff, and there's a clip of them talking about non-binary people, and people are now, you know, pulling that up and saying like, oh, he's been showing us his ignorance for a while now and we just didn't notice it until it hit us in the face. I'll play that clip for you guys now. I found it in a TikTok. It was on my For You page. I was like, wow, it's almost like TikTok knows what kind of a channel I have and they just provide me with stuff all the time.
I found the podcast episode with Shane Dawson and Blair White a couple of days ago, and here's some of the highlights.
There's people who call themselves non-binary, which is people who don't think they're either or, which is like, I'll let you figure that out, but you're not a third gender just because you don't know what you are.
Right. It's interesting that some of these trans people online are so offended by everything, which makes me think like, what? Like you said, you've been through so much. Like you're not offended by somebody accidentally calling you him. Who gives a fuck? Literally, who cares? Is it a mental illness? Because technically that might be what it is. But then some people are like, well, is being gay a mental illness? I'm like, maybe. I don't fucking know. Like, but it is something where I'm like, oh, is this just like their way of dealing with their issues is like putting labels, which I guess that's fine. And then I've had friends come to me being like, young people being like, I think I'm trans. And I'm like, I don't think yeah, I'm like, that's a huge decision. And also I feel like you think about it your whole life. I don't think it's something that pops in your head at 18. You know what I'm saying?
No, none of these people who claim to be trans who use like they and them and all that, they never actually transition.
He's also releasing mystery boxes. So there was emails sent out and people DM'd me their like email thing. They were like, oh my god, what is happening? And then he did announce it on Instagram. He was like, he did the same thing that he does every single time he sells merch, where he goes, no pressure guys, you don't have to buy it, but it's here if you want it. Whenever you say no pressure, that's like very much like, please, I need to pay my mortgage, buy it. But actually the big $100 box is now sold out, so I don't know who's buying it. I don't know if it's like a fake sold out to make it look like Shane still has the hype to possibly then sell more stuff, because if people look at it and see that he's still got the hype, they might forget about why he got cancelled and be like, oh, well, maybe it's not so bad if people still want to buy his stuff. So I don't know if he actually sold out or if this is like, you know, the fake selling out so you can then restock and build more hype. And the last thing is Jeff reacts to his accident. So he played the accident and he was reacting to it like scene by scene. If you guys don't know what happened, David tried to come back to the internet after COVID with a bang, and he was trying to get the Vlog Squad people to do many different stunts like parachute jumping on their own. So they had to like pass the test and then jump without instructors. Jeff then got like swept away by wind. He ended up landing in some like piece of land somewhere else, and then they rented out an excavator that David was driving and they put it in the middle of a lake and they were swinging people around. I think it was Zayn and Todd that also got some injuries. They mentioned it in a podcast literally a few days after that video was filmed, except that video never came out, so we never put two and two together, but they were like swung around and the water was really shallow, so if they fell off the thing that they were swinging on, they would end up in like really shallow water, which it's really easy to injure yourself. David swings him around, abruptly stops the machine. Jeff smacks into the machine, cracks his skull open, falls upside down with his foot still hanging onto the rope and his cracked skull in the shallow water while they're trying to get him off. Apparently Todd and Zayn were trying to like bandage him up on the spot, like with his cracked skull, and they called the ambulance, but the ambulance wouldn't get there quickly enough because they were kind of like they were in a bit of an isolated spot. So they actually drove him to the hospital. They all stayed outside, and he reacted to all of this and said that, you know, they did support him while he was in hospital. They all waited outside for him, made sure everything was okay. But since then, it seems like the relationship between him and David has become a little more fickle, and he talks about that in the reaction. So he's posting more episodes of the documentary. There is some criticisms regarding him milking the accident for views, because he has opened a Patreon where he gets donations and posts kind of exclusive clips and just stuff like that, where he's gained a lot of new subscriptions on Patreon, which could add up to about $2 million of yearly revenue, if not more, because obviously there's more tiers for Patreon. They just kind of rounded it down. But like, he did crack his skull open, so if anyone's gonna capitalize on the accident, it should probably be the guy that actually cracked his skull open. Like, I'm not mad about him trying to make money off of this tragedy, like this life-altering thing that happened to him. Yeah, it was his decision to get on the excavator. Yeah, he did something a little bit stupid, but at the same time, David is a bit of a pressuring guy. He pressures people into doing things for the vlog. Jeff probably was just like, okay, fine, I'll do it. No one else wants to do it, so I'll just do it. And he now has a life-altering injury, a traumatizing event. So I mean, if anyone's going to monetize it, it should probably be him. I think good for him, you know, good for him for monetizing it. He seems like one of the only logical people in that group. And yeah, I'm just, you know, I'm glad he's doing whatever he's doing. And that'll be it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, comment down below anything you want to comment down below, and subscribe to post videos every time something happens. So hit that bell, be notified when that's happening. Social media links, any of the links in description. I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.